This is the Sonic Youth starter kit. Sonic Youth, maybe the coolest band ever. I'm not sure, but definitely one of my favorites. I've been getting deeper and deeper into them this past year or two, and yeah, I think they can have a high barrier of entry as a fan. For a fan, could be a little hard to get into at first, a little hard to wrap your head around. So through my listening, I decided it would be kind of a cool project, because Sonic Youth is such a not a greatest hits type of band, you know, but they do have such a big catalog that I took it upon myself to craft my own sort of greatest hits selection for Sonic Youth spanning their whole career. And the intention here was to have it act as kind of a starter kit for a new fan. Well, I'll just say the main criteria was to have it fit on a 80-minute CD disc. That was the number one criteria, because I wanted to be able to bump it in my car. And then while I was at it, I also figured the like double LP format. So I have them kind of broken up into side A, B, C, and D. And continuity, flow, and some sort of narrative were considered. Not like, obviously it's not going to play like an actual album. It is a collection of songs from different projects from different time periods and, you know, the differing styles of Sonic Youth. So I did my best. I think it plays pretty well from front to back, and I'll give you my selections as well as some reasoning behind them as we go. Obviously, there's going to be some snubs. Maybe I'll go through some snubs at the end or as I go, because getting it down to 80 minutes ended up being kind of a challenge by the end of it. So anyways, here we go. We'll kick off side A. So the thought process here was to kind of, you know, right out the gates, calibrate the senses of the listener to some of the extreme sounds and distortion that they're in store for. So we open up with 100% off of Dirty from 1992. It is the opener of that album. I think it's just works great as an opener. It just like smacks you right in the face and gives you a sense of what you're in for. So that's sung by Thurston. Lyrics are about a friend who was murdered. Lyrical highlight being, I've been around the world 1,000,000 times. All you men are slime. Super cool, sick, badass. And this song is actually really groovy, I think. Groovy, bass heavy. Yeah, it slaps in the whip. It bumps in the whip for sure. Trunk knocker. Following that up will be the closer off Daydream Nation, 1988. That's the third part of the trilogy, which technically closes it out. On Apple Music and all digital streaming services, the trilogy is broken up into individual tracks. So I took just Eliminator Jr., which is this, again, abrasive. This one's more like fast paced, less of the groovy, but you got these nasty, scratchy, muted guitar hits, and then vocals from Kim Gordon about rich boy, poor boy coming right through me. I don't really know what the fuck she's talking about, but it goes hard. It's high energy. And again, this opening stretch is kind of to calibrate the senses. If it is a new listener, you know, I think exposing them to some of the noisier elements early on gives some gratitude for the pleasant moments that will follow. So those two quick hard hitters, those are the two shortest on this collection as well, at about 2.5 minutes each. So that's how we open it. Get a little taste of Thurston, a little taste of Kim. Then we'll get into stereo Sanctity off of Sisters, track 4 off Sister. Again, more noise rock, complete banger. You got Thurston philosophizing about some loose connection between music and the spirit. So there's some double entendre about stereo systems or like audiophile terminology combined with like religious or spiritual terminology. I don't know, man. It's pretty far out. Again, that just carries on the, you know, noise rock. We're getting exposed to the nitty gritty. And that's what we do. And then for some contrast, a moment of respite amongst the noise. Track 4, we have the Diamond C from 1995 album Washing Machine. So I used the radio edit just kind of for the sake of being able to fit more tracks onto here. But obviously the 19-minute or the 25-minute extended version are phenomenal. And, you know, as far as once you've gotten beyond the entry level Sonic Youth listener, definitely worth checking out. And, you know, there's an argument that I'm making a mistake by using the radio edit. You could say that I should have dedicated a whole side to putting the entire song, because I mean the full version is one of Sonic Youth's best songs, but just for the sake of fitting more tracks, I went with the radio edit. Really Sonic Youth at their most beautiful, very easy on the ears. There is, like, you know, experimental, noisier passage through the middle of the radio edit, but for the most part, real easy on the ears relative to Sonic Youth's other work, and some beautiful lyrics about, you know, perception, the self, love, all these things. Time takes a toll on me. And then track 5, this is where we will have Kool Thing. Really, this just, like, during that noisy passage towards the end of the Diamond C, it just, like, clicked in my head that, like, I started hearing the opening riff to Kool Thing in my head, and I was like, yeah, that's gotta go next. And I do think it suits well. That concludes side A, and Kool Thing is pretty funny. I didn't know the background story of it, but I guess Kim Gordon was, like, a big fan of LL Cool J, and had requested Spin Magazine that she could do, like, a sit-down interview with him, and then she was just, like, super displeased with how it went, because he was being kind of an asshole, arrogant male, typical shit. But yeah, there's multiple references to, like, his song titles and lyrics throughout, and basically he is the cool thing sitting with a kitty. And so it's kind of just exposing male chauvinist behavior in a very sarcastic or condescending Kim Gordon fashion. It's pretty funny knowing that that's what inspired that joint. But anyways, that's our side A. We have 100% Eliminator Jr, Stereo Sanctity, Diamond C, and Kool Thing. So, and you know, that's a good taste of, like, throughout the project, I tried to give, you know, its share, and also each vocalist their share. So side B, this side is basically, I see it as kind of like a dialogue between Kim and Lee. There's something about the kind of playful arrogance in the Lee Ronaldo songs that I picked here that just contrasts the, you know, introspective and or like societal commentary and just Kim's whole attitude contrasted with this kind of delusional, confident male voice is really funny to me. So it kicks off with Cross the Breeze, which is one of the highlights off Daydream Nation, which is their magnum opus. If I were to give somebody an actual Sonic Youth starter kit, I would just tell them to listen to Daydream Nation, but that's too easy, so I took the long road. But yeah, Cross the Breeze, great, long, like seven-ish minutes. But yeah, I guess there's some debate about what the song's about. Maybe it's about religious pedophiles. I don't know, but I want to know. Yeah, again, like, great track. Kim Gordon, angry as fuck, and yeah, gets me going. And following that up will be Eric's Trip, which directly follows Cross the Breeze on Daydream Nation in the album order. So I just thought I'd stick true to that instead of trying to figure out a better transition. It's like, well, I'm kind of used to hearing them one after the other anyways, and that's part of what inspired this, like, you know, that's where I noticed the kind of fun contrast between Kim and Lee. So yeah, Eric's Trip, awesome. I guess it's like a dude talking about his acid trip, and yeah, it's just funny. All I see is me, and saying that, like, that's what is important. So it's just a funny contrast between Kim questioning everything, kind of rebellious questioning about society, and this I want to know, and then on Eric's Trip, just like, all I see is me, nothing else is even important to me, just me. So there's that. Following that, we'll have Shadow of a Doubt, which is, it ended up being the only song off of Evil that I included. Spoilers, a couple others were on there and got cut for the sake of making it fit the 80 minutes, but Shadow of a Doubt, where we have Kim describing this encounter where she met a stranger on a train, and then it was just a dream I had, swear I didn't mean it. Really interesting, thought-provoking song. And I think in her book she described that basically she was trying to encapsulate the, like, feeling of when you make eye contact with a stranger, which is just fun. Like, everyone has done that and been like, oh, you know, when you look right in someone's eyes and they catch you and you, like, look down, you're like, oh fuck. But yeah, I mean, super good song. Kind of starts out super quiet and then eventually builds, and you get the old Kim Gordon howls. And I guess I was also inspired by a Hitchcock, Met a Stranger on a Train, or Stranger on a Train, something like that. But really cool, this kind of, I don't know what you would describe, I'm not going to think of the right word, but this sort of uncertainty or like questioning of the self, where it's like, oh, I didn't mean to do that. What have I done? I said, oh, and then it's just a dream I had, questioning reality and all this. And then that takes us into our second Lee Ranaldo feature, again from Daydream Nation with Hey Joni. So I think it creates kind of a fun little narrative back and forth here to have this Shadow of a Doubt and then Hey Joni, put it all behind you. She's not thinking about the future. She's not spinning her wheels. She doesn't think at all about the past. She's thinking long and hard about that wild sound. Yeah, I think it's about Joni Mitchell. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what other Joni there is, but this is probably Lee Ranaldo's best contribution to the band's catalog, and really just a banger. I love his vocal here, like very strong and clear compared to, you know, Thurston's typical more slacker rock delivery, and then Kim Gordon's like aggressive hollering. It's a nice sort of middle ground, and yeah, I mean, it's a great song, high energy and just full of lyrics. That's like both of these Lee Ranaldo songs are just very wordy compared to a lot of their stuff. And yeah, so kind of fast paced and good stuff. That'll conclude side B. So for side B, it's Cross the Breeze, Eric's Trip, Shadow of a Doubt, and Hey Joni. That's our little Kim and Lee dialogue. And moving on to side C. So this kicks off the second half of the album. This is where I had quite a bit of trouble, and I rearranged this section multiple times. I guess I'll mention like the two that got cut off of Evil. First, I cut Expressway to Your Skull just because of time, really. And for the purpose of this as a starter kit, I don't know if the like 4-minute, you know, kind of feedback noise outro, I just picked against it. So Expressway got cut, and then Star Power was originally on here, and you'll see where I ended up going with it. But I was having a lot of trouble with where to place Star Power, and what I ended up going with, I think, works out better. I was a little hesitant because of this is going to be our 6th song off of Daydream Nation, but whatever, it is my favorite album of theirs. It's, I mean, widely recognized as their best work, so I think the representation is warranted. But we'll kick off side C with Candle. This is just fucking Sonic Youth, man. I mean, we got Thurston on vocals, and what I love about this song really is just the unpredictability of it. Like, even having heard it as many times as I have, I'll still get surprised by certain passages, either like when you're sure they're gonna switch the groove or switch the chord progression, they'll hold it a little longer. And like when that first, from the intro, when the first riff comes in, it's just so out of left field compared to what the intro has you kind of expecting a certain progression, and then rhythmically and chord structure wise it just comes out of left field, but then it works so good. You're like, oh shit, that's tough. Well, that's tough. But yeah, this really is encapsulates what they do well. Kind of strikes me as like a slacker rock anthem. I don't know how deep it is, but you know, you got the wind is blowing through my stupid mop, so he's like self-deprecating, and you know, but he's racing through the wind. And then you got the funny Tonight's the Day, Candle, which I think kind of a spin on Neil Young, Tonight's the Night, but Tonight's the Day, Candle. And then, of course, it ends up being a reference to the beautiful album art with the candle on it. But yeah, I think this is just Sonic Youth in their slacker rock bag, and experimental, very surprising. You know, they never let you guess their next move. And this is a great example of that. I think it's really funny that this was one of the singles off of Daydream Nation, because it's like, obviously you have Teenage Riot, which would be the obvious choice for a single, but beyond that, it's like, what is a Sonic Youth single? You know, the fact that Candle was even thought to like possibly be on the radio or anything is just, it just cracks me up, especially, you know, given that I grew up in the 2000s and 2010s when shit I mean, we all know what's on the radio nowadays, but it definitely doesn't sound anything like Candle. Next up, we got another Thurston track, which is Theresa's Sound World off of Dirty again. So that's our second track off Dirty. I really like this song. It's one that I don't listen to Dirty as much as some of their other albums, but this song's really awesome. It's like post-rock with the kind of the swells. It swells up twice and then dissipates, and those swells are just amazing. There's a lead guitar lick, something like that. I haven't done it justice, but there's a part that you hear ringing out a couple times at the beginning of the swell, and it's such a good little lick that I'm like, oh, I hope they keep playing it, and then they never do. But great song. I think it does stand out a bit, but it shows a little more of that range. Like, I think this is a more agreeable Sonic Youth track, and yeah, it's just really cool. I guess it might be about like a mystic woman from 16th century Spain, Theresa of Avila. I don't fucking know. To me, it seems pretty cryptic, but there's some light girl moving around, so we have this mystic woman figure, right? I don't know. Light girl. That's what it's about to me, because that's what he says. Anyways, this takes us into probably the most emotional Sonic Youth song they ever did make, which is Tunic, Song for Karen, a song that Kim wrote for Karen Carpenter of the Carpenters, who died rather tragically at 32 years old of complications due to anorexia. And something like this one is mixed where the vocals are very much out in front, and I think it's important because it is, there's a clear message to the song and they want to be heard, obviously, but it's really kind of a heart-wrenching song, and combined with like the noisy elements, it really does penetrate deep into the heart and soul. But yeah, and then little lines like, you look so underfed. Obviously, I'm getting smaller every day, but when I look in the mirror, I'm getting bigger in every way. It's tough stuff. But yeah, super impactful. Probably like an emotional high point or low point, depending how you look at it. But that one is probably like that's probably top 5 of Sonic Youth songs for me. So it had to be on here. And another one that's probably top 5 of all Sonic Youth songs. Next up is Schizophrenia. This one was kind of hard to place because to me, like the drums coming in first, which by the way, beautiful drum sound with the like room echo. It sounds like there's like if you listen to it in the car or something, it sounds like you can hear the drum hit and then you can hear the drum sound like bounce off your fucking back windshield. It's it's pretty cool. Something about that drum intro and the fact that it's the opener to the album Sister, it was hard to place it because in my head nothing comes before it. But I think that the like fade out at the end of Tunic, and also kind of just like the emotional state that it leaves you in, and there's like 15 seconds of near silence at the end of Tunic, and it gives you a chance to kind of take a few deep breaths and reset. And then when those drums come in, it's like, oh, okay, something new, something different. But I think the transition works well. And then Schizophrenia, obviously it's one of their most famous and beloved songs, and I guess partially inspired by Kim Gordon's brother, who was schizophrenic. Yeah, just definitely some commentary on family and mental illness and that stuff. Yeah, her brother says she's just a bitch with a golden chain. Kind of dismissive, but what are brothers for after all? But I mean, this is like classic Sonic Youth, with the contrast between the sort of gentleness and the airiness at the beginning, where we have these guitars and then the drums coming in. The drums and then the guitars coming in. And here we don't have such a mess of distortion right off the bat. We have these guitars kind of playing off each other almost in like a television-esque type of way, Marky Moon type of way. And then obviously by the time, also we have vocals from Thurston and then a second verse from Kim. So it's one of these beautiful moments where we get both voices on one song. And by the time we get to the end of Kim's part, it starts ramping up into this, more noisy noise rock outro. A couple minutes of noise fading out into a dwindling fuzz at the end of it. Beautiful song, great track, the best song off Sister, easily, and one of their best songs, period. That'll conclude our side C. So there we had Candle, Theresa, Tunic, Song for Karen, and then Schizophrenia. Now, to close it out, we got some heavy hitters. First, We have Wildflower Soul, which is a 9-minute epic, kind of indie rock, kind of really post-rock sounding to me. But yeah, this song's a journey. It's not one I really listened to a lot because it's on 1,000 Leaves, which is their 1998 release. To be honest, I'm just going to come clean. I don't think I've ever listened to the album front to back. But as I was putting together this list and just sorting through their stuff, I did come across some new joints. And Wildflower Soul is one that I had definitely slept on because it's not on one of their major releases. So it got lost in the shuffle. But it's a beautiful, beautiful song, gentle one with some lyrics about childhood and fuzzed out guitar to open it up, and then that weird dissonant fuzzy guitar comes back later. But then we have like a nice clean little open chord riff, and I don't know what this is about, but it's just kind of nice. It's nice and sweet, you know. Sing your children's song, sing your love child, love is on, see through child eyes are old, an old magic growing, see the child lights spinning gold. I mean, you know, touch base, tap in with your inner child. Fuck, Thurston's telling you to. But yeah, I mean, the song's just sick. I don't have a lot to say about it. It's just beautiful. Okay. And that'll wrap up, and that'll lead us into, honestly, you're kidding yourself if you say this isn't the best Sonic Youth song. It takes us into Teenage Riot. We got the opener with the dreamy, washed out, verby guitars, and Kim talking about spirit desire, we will fall, miss me, don't dismiss me, spirit desire. And then we get these slashing guitar riffs, high pace, high energy, and it never lets up. And this song is about a hypothetical J. Mascis presidential campaign, which is fucking badass. Shout out Dinosaur Jr. I might do one of these for Dinosaur Jr., to be fair. Dinosaur Jr., Built to Spill, those are two that are on my radar. If anybody fucking watches this, comment a band you want to see a starter kit for. Otherwise, I'll just keep cooking them up myself. Yeah, it's like the slacker rock anthem, kind of describing some world where this new archetype of rock star that J. Mascis was in their minds is taking over. It's just fucking awesome. It's, in my opinion, you could say that there has not been a song like this since. This could be the best rock song of all time since its release, if that makes any sense. Yeah, I don't know, man. This is one of my favorite songs of all time. I'll glaze the fuck out of it. He acts the hero. You paint a 0 on his hand. Fuck off. This song's awesome. And the little guitar breakdown after that lyric makes me nut every time. The song's amazing. It's their best song. I saved it for the end. This side D is kind of a sweet treat for making it this far. All right. And finally, the closer after Teenage Riot is Incinerate. To me, it doesn't really fit into the Sonic Youth thing in my head. It's like, it came out, it's on Rather Ripped, which is a 2006 release. So it's like, you know, I would say past their prime as far as their heyday. For me, was the 3 albums, Evil, Sister, Daydream Nation. To me, that's as good as it gets. But then also, you know, you had them kind of stepping into the more alternative rock space with Goo and Dirty, which are also great releases, and then sort of reestablishing themselves with this more post-rock and, you know, noisy, whatever, washing machine. But kind of, I would say that 86 to 95 is like their prime run, so to speak. That's prime Aldo right there, you know. Anyways, Incinerate kind of sits well outside of that, and it has a way different feel compared to like almost everything on this list. In my opinion, it's their most easily accessible song. And like, if I wanted to just front load, you know, the other way to go about this would be to front load this album, so to speak, with songs like Incinerate, Diamond C, whatever, maybe throw Kool Thing up there, and then maybe a song like Sugarcane that's more alternative rock, you know, kind of more digestible stuff. But Incinerate, easily their poppiest, most conventional rock and roll song. You could say it fits in with that whole post-punk revival movement of the early 2000s. But yeah, just knowing that this is, in my opinion, their most accessible song, I wanted to put it at the end, so that, assuming this is for someone who's listening to the whole thing for the first time, you got to get through all the rest of all the other stylings of Sonic Youth. You must make it through the entire journey, and then at the end, you may hear Incinerate, and that may be your favorite song. because it's probably supposed to be. It probably is meant to be that way. But yeah, I mean, it is a great song. It's awesome. I don't knock it at all. I hadn't even heard it till like a year ago because I just don't listen to Rather Ripped. But you know, I ended up on their top songs chart or whatever, and it was like up there in the top 4 on Apple Music. So I was like, oh, what the hell is this? And then I was like, it almost doesn't sound like Sonic Youth, but it is a banger. Anyways, we're gonna wrap this up. I'll take you through the whole list here. Starting off, 100%, Eliminator Jr., Stereo Sanctity, Diamond C, Kool Thing. Side B, Cross the Breeze, Eric's Trip, Shadow of a Doubt, and Hey Joni. Side C, Candle, Theresa's Sound World, Tunic, Song for Karen, Schizophrenia. Side D, Wildflower Soul, Teenage Riot, and Incinerate. So, this is my collection of songs, the definitive collection, Sonic Youth Starter Kit. Hope you guys have enjoyed. If anybody wants to leave a comment with which songs I snubbed, I know there's got to be some Dirty Boots or Sugarcane fans out there, or somebody who wants to tell me that the Diamond C full 20-minute version should have been included. I don't fucking know. Or just hit me up. If you've never listened to Sonic Youth, give these tracks a listen. I don't think YouTube will let me put links in my description, but I'll try. I will try. Anyways, that's my roundup. That's my explanation and description. I'll be back. Peace.